Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys Marvel 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. Now today we are taking a look at Black Widow in her snowsuit from her solo movie. A look that I'm pretty darn curious to see in person. Now I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They do have installment plans as well as a reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon and join button so you're notified as soon as a brand new review goes live on the channel. As for the box art, it is predominantly white, just like the snowsuit itself. Off to one side, a Black Widow movie logo, then on the other, this huge Black Widow hourglass symbol. On the inside, top and bottom, we've got a little bit of artwork. On the side of the box, another Black Widow logo. Then on the back, all of the warnings and legal info. Now, if you slide off the top cover, you do get a much better look at the artwork. It's absolutely stunning. On the back of the box, we do get a product shot of the actual figure. Now, if we open up the top cover, we get a sneak preview, but as you all know, we're not here for sneak previews, we're here to review Black Widow. One of my favorite parts about getting variant suits and different hairstyles for a character from the same movie is that we can do comparisons. You all know I love my comparisons. We'll also do some head swaps, don't you worry. First in-hand impressions are, this is some Colgate levels of white. This suit is super bright. What we are going to do now, though, is get all of her accessories laid out in the light box. Take a closer look at everything she comes with. Starting off with the display base first. It's done in Hot Toys' usual hexagonal style. I like the mix of finishes with this kind of matte grippy texture for the white parts and high gloss for both logos. Up front, Black Widow. Then up top, a regular crotch grabber. I am going to try and tackle all the batons in one go. Let's just keep it nice and simple. We've got these straight up and down ones. There's some grip texture for the handles, plus some metallic silver and a pop of blue. I also like the gold paint in the crevices for the various linkages. Now, as you can see, the tops, they look a little bit different. This one has the little spikies on the end where this one doesn't. That's because these are customizable. You can remove these little top pieces and interchange them. You can pretty much do whatever you want with them. You can switch between all three options. You may be thinking 3 options, but I only saw 2. That's because the third one is here. With these batons, they are significantly longer, as you can see, and they're fully articulated. You can bend them. There are multiple different points that you can bend them on, and yes, you do have the spike on the end, but if you don't want that there, just like the straight batons, you can remove it, although, as you just saw, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Although, after you do it the first time, it gets a lot easier, don't worry. Now, we do have 3 pistols in total, 2 that look like this little guy right here. The top is spring-loaded, forward and back, and yes, you can remove the magazine with some painted bullet detail up on top. We only get 1 of these though, and that's a darn shame. I actually prefer the design of this one. We've got the little sight up top, and yes, it's translucent red, plus the laser pointer, and you still have a moving slide and a removable magazine with, you guessed it, painted bullet detail up on top there as well. And lastly, a full array of hands, and when I say a full array, I mean it. You get a metric ton of them. You get gesturing hands and open palm hands and trigger finger hands. I'm really impressed with the array. I also like the sculpting for the gloves. There's some texture and some shading. But the best part for me is painted fingernails in 1/6 scale. They've kind of got this pearlescent metallic finish, and that's simply not something we see very often. What we are going to do now, though, is get Black Widow herself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. So far, so good. When you get over that initial shock of how bright white the suit is, then you can start to appreciate some of the smaller details, like all of the contrasting color. It's not just a white suit. You've got off-white armor plating, you've got black harnesses and braces, and then of course her red hair, it all works together beautifully. Now, I love a black suit Black Widow, don't get me wrong, it's a classic look, but if you want something that's going to stand out in your display, this might be it for you. That being said, the best part about this figure for me is the body. Now, that did come across kind of creepy, but what I meant to say is the proportions are so darn real. Hot Toys have gotten making Black Widow figures and their bodies down to a science at this point. It literally looks like a shrunk down 1/6 scale person standing in front of me. I loved Endgame, but they iterated even further with the Solo movie figures. I reckon the snowsuit and the black suit from the Solo movie might just be two of Hot Toys' best Black Widow figures ever. Up close and personal, kicking things off with the head sculpt first. Now the big question is, Justin, does this look like Black Widow? Is this Scarlett Johansson shrunk down to 1/6 scale? And the answer, for me at least, is yes, absolutely. I can see the likeness from pretty much every angle. I love the expression with the subtle furrowed brow and pursed lips. The skin texture is really nicely painted all the way down to the teeny tiny freckle. It's subtle, but it's absolutely there. The skin texture and skin tone match between the neck and the head sculpt is also on point. Now, we do have to talk about the elephant in the room, the sculpted hair. I love sculpted hair. They can mold it to go around certain pieces of armor, and out of the box, it's going to look perfect every single time because, as we all know, a character's hairstyle is a big part of the likeness. If they have rooted hair and it's not styled correctly, it can throw off the entire sculpt. So there are definitely advantages, but there are some cons as well, such as articulation. Now, going forward and back, it's super restricted. Side to side, it's restricted there too. Is it worth the trade-off for it to look really good in a neutral pose? I don't know, that's going to be up to you, but for me, I love the way it looks. As for some head swaps though, like I promised earlier, let's get that done. You know what? This actually looks really good. This is the Black Widow head sculpt from the black suit, also from the Solo movie, and yeah, it's compatible. It uses the same body, so the neck connector is the same size. The skin tone match between the head sculpt and the neck is on point. But now, because she has significantly less hair, her range of motion is drastically better. Going forward the full way, going back just a little bit further as well. Now, compared to the head sculpt she comes wearing, I like it, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, something about the shorter tied up hair and the super fiery vibrant red, it just pops on the white suit. Do let me know which of these two head sculpts you prefer down below. And lastly, everyone's favourite, the Endgame head sculpt, and it's still my favourite too, it looks incredible. Now the only complaint I have is it sits a little bit low on the neck, but she's got one strand for a ponytail so she can look way further forward than both of the others and way further back. Now you may be thinking, Justin, why is this new one completely different in terms of the hair colour? And the answer is, I don't know. Maybe you know and you can let me know, but out of the three of them, this one has the lightest red hair, and maybe that doesn't work for you. Just stick with one of the other Black Widows. There are so many different Black Widows to choose from, so if for some reason this one with the sculpted and lighter hair doesn't work for you, then, like I said, there are a bunch of other options. Now, I do like the little backpack tucked up underneath her hair, and I just noticed that the underside of the hair is sculpted and painted, a nice touch. I also like the pops of red on the backpack and the batons, they're articulated. You can move them forward and back or remove them entirely, although on camera it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Because of course, if she's holding them, technically they wouldn't be stored in here at the same time. Back around the front, unfortunately, all of that stretchy spandex in the high traffic joints from the black suit, it's all gone. It's been replaced with screen-printed fabric, which means you're gonna have to be a little bit more careful. I do like the texture and the different colors of white. It's not just all one super bright stark white like I thought initially. There's also a little bit of shading. It's not 100% pristine. Up here for the shoulder pads, once again a pop of red, nice and glossy, and some dirt and grime around the edges. You do have some silver piping, plus her Black Widow braces, they're done in black with some dry brushing on the surface. In typical Black Widow fashion, her belt is slightly off kilter, just a touch sassy, and I'm here for it. If you find you're not though, don't worry, it's adjustable. It's a separate floating piece, including the straps on her thighs. You can move them up and down. She does have some working holsters, and you can slide the pistols in, although the grip isn't super secure. Her pants are just a continuation of the upper torso. It's one bodysuit, so screen-printed textured fabric. She does have some knee pads, and if you're wondering, oh no, when I bend the knee they're going to peel off. No. They're actually fused onto the main fabric of the suit, unlike Hot Toys Deadpool 1, where they tended to peel off. And the same thing can be said for the elbow pads, they're done in the exact same way. Coming down to the boots, oh yes, a split-cut boot design, and I like the contrast, they're a slightly darker color. You do have a zipper down the front, and then underneath, some fully sculpted and fully painted tread. For a quick side-by-side comparison, on the left we have snowsuit, and on the right, classic suit. Now if you're sitting here thinking, oh, which one do I get? It's a really tough choice. Yeah, it is. They're the same character from the same movie on the same body with a bunch of similar accessories, so it's literally just down to which hairstyle and outfit you prefer. I am really struggling here. I love the bright white suit. It immediately grabs your attention, but the black suit with the tied up hair and the gold pops of color, that works for me also. But if you sit down and think about it, if you're getting Yelena in her snowsuit, maybe she'll work with the figure on the left just a little bit better. Next up, Endgame Black Widow, who's just a little bit shorter. While I do prefer the head sculpt on the Endgame figure, I much prefer the body on Snowsuit. It looks way better. She's got broader shoulders and narrower hips versus the Endgame figure, which is the complete opposite. And lastly, Taskmaster, who is significantly taller. That works for me. I like having Taskmaster being this big, imposing villain in the display, therefore taller than Black Widow. Also, in the film, for 95% of the Taskmaster scenes, it was a dude in the suit, so this height checks out. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things. The first annoying thing is the joint choice for the ankle. Now, instead of going with a double ball peg, Hot Toys decided we're gonna go with a hinge and swivel. It's basically a massive wrist peg, kind of like what they did with Wonder Woman. So you can go forward and back, you can swivel side to side, but if you want pivot, you're SOL, which kind of defeats the entire purpose of a split-cut boot. Now, you can rotate the joint inside underneath this cover, then you can get pivot, but then you can no longer go forward and back. You have to choose one or the other. The second annoying thing, and fingers crossed it's a QC issue only on my copy, but for some reason the pistols are really loose in the holsters. So when it comes to posing, if you get a little bit too crazy and tap the pistols, they're gonna fall out. The third annoying thing, and by all means just ignore this one if it doesn't bother you, because it's really minor, but everyone always says, Hot Toys, we love double bend elbows. But then when they do them on a skin-tight suit, you get this. It buckles in at the joint because of the crevice and it looks kinda ugly. Now, I have pulled the suit down as far as it will go, but there's no two ways about it. It springs right back up into that joint. The first cool thing is that you have so many options for the batons. You've got the holstered versions on her back, you've got the straight versions with the taser tips, you also have the articulated ones with the hook, and you can swap the parts and pieces between them, like I said, customizability. The second cool thing is, being an all-white suit, this could have been so boring. It could have been stark white without any detail, but it isn't. There are contrasting panels and colors and harnesses and straps and different textures and silver piping and design work. There's a lot going on. I don't reckon it's boring at all. The third cool thing is now we have 3 Black Widow head sculpts with sculpted hair. It wasn't that long ago when all of the Black Widow head sculpts by Hot Toys had that Barbie doll hair, and it was awful. So even though these new ones do have a little bit of a drawback when it comes to articulation, I think they look a darn sight better. Going over articulation, do bear in mind this is my personal copy, so I'm going to be a touch more careful. Starting off with the head sculpt, it's a fixed neck with a double ball peg, looking forward to there, looking back to there, swivel and pivot side to side. The arms will go up to there and spring back down just a little. Going forward and back, butterfly joint at the shoulder that also hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow going the full way. Then of course a regular 1/6 scale wrist peg. The torso crunches forward and back, swivels and pivots. The legs will go forward to there, hindered by the holsters. Going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh. Double bend at the knee going the full way, then of course a hinge and swivel down here for the ankle. Wrapping up on Hot Toys Black Widow in her snowsuit from her solo movie. Going into this, I was excited, don't get me wrong, I don't want to make it sound like I wasn't, but I was also skeptical. I thought, really? Black Widow in a white outfit? That's just not her thing, it just doesn't make sense. Isn't this just White Widow? No, it's not White Widow. This is Black Widow through and through. She has easily won me over. Starting off with the body, love the proportions. Articulation is good, but limited in certain areas, such as the head sculpt with the sculpted hair. Then we have the head sculpt itself, which I think looks just like her. Some people don't. It's a little bit divisive, but it's down to you. If you like it, go ahead and grab her. If you don't, just pass, there are plenty of other options. She does come with a full array of accessories, just like the black suit, so that kind of makes your choice even more difficult. You can't just say, oh, I'll just go with the one with more accessories, because technically they come with the same array. Unless you get the special edition of the black suit, which comes with Taskmaster's shield. So, if you're sitting here trying to pick between the two, it's a pretty hard choice, and that's why I went with the cop-out answer of both of them. I don't expect everyone to do that, but the simple answer is, if you want something that's going to stand out in your MCU collection amongst the dark navy blues and the reds and the greens, then maybe a white-suited Black Widow is the one for you. Now, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They do have installment plans and a reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.